Good afternoon, dear friends. We are ready to start. We're so glad to see you here on our session, New Challenges, New Conditions, New Logistics. And I hope that an hour and a half would be quite profitable for you. You will hear the up-to-date information from our speakers, and somewhere here in corridors you'll find new people, new partners, and we'll have a fruitful time here. I don't want to delay, and I'd like to give the floor for the welcoming speech of one of our distinguished guests, as the Deputy Minister of Transport and Road Industry, Ruslan Garipov. Good afternoon, dear participants of the International Congress of Transport and Construction. We're glad to welcome you here in the Republic of Bashkortostan in Ufa. It became a bit spontaneous, but we prepared fully and wanted to show all the advances which we have. The railroads are one of the main arteries, and the railroad nets connect all the cities, subjects, not only for Russia, but also abroad. So the burning points discussed during this session would be quite essential for everyone. So hope you'll enjoy the time. Thank you. And another welcoming speech, the floor takes the Deputy Head of Kuybushevskaya Railway, Dmitry Novikov. Distinguished participants of the meeting, today in the framework of the International Congress, we have a session connected with new challenges, new conditions, and new logistics. I'd like to say thank you to the partners, colleagues, and the organizing committee for taking part in the topical meeting. So, of course, our essential goal is to provide safe transportation within railroad. Of course, we have new challenges each day, and we need to stabilize and create new routes. It's one of the burning questions in the sphere of logistics, load logistics. Even if we have a decrease in shipment, I think that our work would solve all the problems which we face. Even after we have a lot of sanctions right now, we'll also hear about the business blocks and the ways to eliminate all the problems. We'd like to make the shipment available for everyone. Thank you. Right now, we could start. That would be the main content of our session. To make it profitable, I ask you to write questions and to write main points, just because after their report, you'll have an opportunity 3 minutes after their speech to ask questions for all of the colleagues which we have. And an opening report would be the head of Kuybushevsky Local Center of Proprietary Transport Services, Igor Khachulin. Good afternoon, distinguished Ruslan Rinatovich, colleagues, and the participants of the session. We have new challenges, new circumstances, and new logistics as the main topic of our session. We understand that right now we have to work in new conditions, which are not that easy to maintain. Just because we have sanctions, limitations from other countries, right? We have the different cargo flow. You could see it on that slide, that we have a decrease of load in North Caucasus, Privolzhskaya Road, and Southeastern Road. But at the same time, you could see that we have an increase for the Far East, Baikal, and Eastern Siberian roads. It is also connected with the reduction of shipment in Baltic ports, Azov and Black Sea. Right now we have only one channel open where we could have shipment without any limitation. It's the Far East ports. Right now, in the framework of the conditions what we have, the transportation is changing, especially within the cargo load trains, just because it's already reduced the number of the shipment in eastern part of our country. Right now we mostly have those who were western part, we mostly have right now east, the Far East, the ports of Black Sea, and the ports near China. What else we have opened is Kaliningrad, Buslovskaya station, Potya station, to the Georgia Railroad. We'll tell more about the services which we provide right now with the container-ranged cargo transportation. I would like to tell more about the transport corridor north-south. We have three branches there. The first is western, or through the North Caucasus Road. Russian Railways decided a month ago, Derbent-Samur Railroad is now working 24 hours per day. The second destination is through the Caspisk, and it's quite actively used by our republic. For instance, the sunflower oil shipment. And also we would like to load the eastern branch, Russia, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Iran. On 29th of June, we have discussed this issue in Ashgabat among all the authorities. Russian railroads have operating teams working on this issue. They have reached the agreement with all the countries of the route, Kazakhstan, Iran, Turkmenistan, about reduction of the taxes for shipment. Some countries, it could have a reduction for 80%. I think that Ruslan Belnitsky, the representative of Russian Railroads Logistics, would tell more about it, just because it's the only operator who implements the transportation on behalf of Russian railways. The burning question for further discussion is the creation of bond zones, the territories with special status where the taxation should be paid not only while they are sold to the purchasers. It's the place of special status for storing and for storing the load what they have while using the custom services of the export goods for those who ordered the goods in internet. I believe that cooperation with local authorities would help us to create such zones. I need to add that we also have a long-term partnership with our cargo shipment companies. We know that not everything was made for the small and medium-sized business. For example, we have a center of selling services. There we have the whole set of the transportation services from storage, also provision of cars, attachment of loads, and others. Nowadays, the railway net, there are more than 400 companies who could provide their cars through the center of selling services. Another sphere we are working in is the project Russian Railroad Market. It's a marketplace where you could buy different goods online with the shipment up to the final point. So the manufacturer could place the information about selling goods on the marketplace. In that system, the purchaser who buys the product on the system also had their own cars, and shipment would be provided aftermath. In order to develop this system, they have the integration with service sellers, implementation of shipment of small loads by Russian Post, and also creation of the service and information site. Russian Railways also developed their personal account. One of the crucial issues is clarity and transparency of the information which we have. Here I must note the development of informational services by the Russian railways. They could interact and use automatized system e-tron without internet. Further working in your private account is free of charge. Right now we have 1,032 clients within this program. It is available to sign up all the documents in electronic form for all the purchases. Russian railways were one of the first who decided to build up a good cooperation with our clients. We all remember that in year 2020, the COVID-19 reduced our offline interaction, but we had digital abilities to communicate, and it doesn't influence on the railroad shipment at all. We do not stay on one point. We develop ourselves and we wait for your invoices, for your opinions on our work, and our job would be interesting for most of us.
Thank you, Igor Vladimirovich. Dear participants, do you have any questions or some thoughts probably that arose during the report? So I have a question. You touched the topic, increase of loading of cargo into the direction of Far East. What Russian railroads do to improve the traffic capacity? Yes, constant participant of cargo traffic, they face that there is restrictions of loading, starting with Krasnoyarsk, Vostochno-Sibirskaya and Zabaikalskaya railroads. But as I mentioned, the biggest parts of cargo traffic that was moving towards west is redirecting towards east. And right now we temporarily stopped rules of discrimination access during the cargo traffic, and the priority is given to national economy goods for cargo trafficking inside the country. And even in the conditions of new coronavirus infection, in the conditions of new challenges that we face, Russian railroads don't decrease their investments for the development of Eastern Polygon, for modernization of Baikal-Amur Railroad and Transsib Railroad. The cargo traffic was 150 million tons last year. Next year we're planning modernization of Transsib and BAM, and the cargo traffic capacity must be up to 180 million tons per year. A lot of attention was paid to this question at Eastern Economic Forum. It was discussed with the President of Russian Federation, and for the future we have the plans for modernization of the third stage, where we plan to increase this capacity up to 240 million tons. So we are developing this Eastern Polygon, and I hope that the difficulties and challenges that we face will be solved very soon. Thank you very much, and we do appreciate your speech. I would like to continue and to invite Natalia Lakienko, Deputy Head of Kуйбышевская Office for Terminal and Warehousing Management. Please take the floor. Good afternoon, dear Ruslan Rinatovich, Dmitry Viktorovich, dear participants of International Forum. I would like to present my report on Russian Railways Terminal Logistics Services. We have cargo terminals throughout the whole network of railroad system in Russia. It's more than 700 cargo terminals around Russia, from Kaliningrad to Vladivostok. The activity of central management is oriented on the medium-sized and small-sized businesses. So the cargo terminals, they are like entering point. The Kuybyshev management on terminal and warehouse complex has representatives in 9 subjects of the Russian Federation, and objects of terminal and storage facilities are located on 37 cargo terminals. At the same time, according to the requests of the clients, the services are rendered outside the terminals on the whole polygon of Kuybyshev Railroad. So we process a wide range of cargoes. So we do with grains, outsize, load units and large containers. The center offers its services, full range of services. Right now, the range of works and services has been widened. We render services connected with the initial and terminal operations, washing the cars, storage, processing of cargo, and many, many others, custom clearance, documentation preparation, and many others. In order to support clients, we offer to use temporary measures of economic support. For example, when we render complex of services for recycling cargoes or processing cargoes, we're advised to use the storage facility with some benefits. We offer packages to our clients with a big discount, from 3 to 10% discount. The size of discount depends on the package fulfillment, plus the client gets additional services free of charge. Over the last couple of years, we've highlighted the most popular service among the clients. It's trafficking in closed containers. In cities like Strytamak, Samara, Ulyanovsk, and Nizhnekamsk, we have accepted 127 container trains. Last year, together with the representative of Transport Logistics Business Bloc, we managed to organize new 7 directions of cargo traffic. And this year we also created new 9 directions. The increase is defined by the expansion of the number of clients, the expansion of geography of delivery, and so on. 2 years of pandemics, as Igor Vladimirovich mentioned, made the business more mobile and flexible and able to adapt quicker to modern realia. So we took the task for operative information to the enterprises and development of new logistics schemes and transport solutions. And thus the search for new directions and sending container trains on new alternative threads and schedules. Within the framework of door-to-door service, we render services that are present on the web page. I won't tell you about everything, but just mention that it starts with the calculation of costs to rendering loading services, making drafts, and so on, so on. In order to provide full service for container trains, today we have 16 vehicles, and we offer our clients a fast way of agreement conclusion for transportation by accepting a public offer. Under one application, the client concludes the agreement, he sees all the terms and conditions and all the responsibilities of parties. This year, together with Transport Logistics Business Block, we implement another project. It's Cargo Express between Terminal C and M. This service presumes full range of services of different kinds of cargo in closed containers. The aim of the project is that we add covered cars or containers to the existing trains that go to the final destination of the container train, or they are disconnected on the way. So thus the clients get a faster service for delivery. I would like to highlight that the Directorate successfully participates in different concepts, and today we are engaged in implementation of 13 regional projects, such as building of transit through Tольятти, building of the railroad Moscow-Kazan, and building corridor Europe, Western China. The volume of breakstone processing this year is 24%. New technologies allow us to do it much quicker. Another service is the service of fast reaction. Its novelty is in that in operative and user friendliness. So this is a project of loading or unloading small batches of cargo up to 15 cars on public spaces outside terminals and on the customer's infrastructure. The mobile brigade, mobile team is equipped with cranes, mobile cranes, and can be located very quickly. Within the framework of this service, we offer clients to exclude constant costs for servicing and maintaining personnel, equipment, and so on. And in case of working with hazardous cargo, to get the license, necessary license. Plus, the bonus for our clients is that they get cars firstly.
of the loading of our workers get the documents and sign all the acts, and after that provide the shipment and delivery from one door to another. Not long ago, our clients reached the automatized taxation on our terminals when they have an export transfer. On the first stage, it mostly connected with cargo, and also we plan to spread it on other loads. The central direction is the federal institution, and our cargo terminals are the entries for the entrepreneurs of small and medium-sized business. Thank you for the attention.
Thank you very much. Do you upgrade the cargo terminals? Yes, thank you for the question. Upgrading or modernization in Russian Railroads Company is implemented. So we have a complex program for upgrading and rebranding of cargo terminals, and the Central Directorate and this program is started its implementation last year, and it's planned to be finished in 2024. So 70 terminals around Russia, including on Kуйбышев railroad polygon. So we have 4 terminals that await the modernization, the upgrade in Stерлитамак, Saransk, and Ulyanovsk. So we need to increase the technological activity and quality and timing of processing cargo. This year we have finished modernization of terminal in Stерлитамак back in May this year, and this modernization allowed us to reduce the time of processing of container trains from 5 days to 1 day, and to increase the processing capacity of the terminal 2 times, nearly 2 times. Does anyone else have got questions while Natalia is here? So, okay, thank you. Thank you.
And we continue now. The floor is taken by the director of Samara branch of Russian Railways Logistics, Alexander Belnitsky. Distinguished Ruslan Renatovich, all the colleagues and participants of the session. In my report, I would like to reflect the question of the services of our company, that's cargo, transfer, also the internal activities, also consulting, and the terms of manufacturing, logistics, and also the resources which we have, which help to maintain our services. I would like to add that here on the slide you can see a ready-made service which has digitalization. We have stakes. These stakes are up to date. We have here 2 destinations where we could take the load. And we take Bashkortostan here in individual way. We could work the first shipment, the first delivery to start and to reach these routes. Here you can see that we haven't got UFA, but we are ready to work with UFA and to include your goods into the service. We are ready to make the shipment starting from 1 container and up to several cars. You can see that this route consists of the Russian part. If we take western part, Azerbaijan, and then flows to Iran. Then we have the port of United Emirates and India. The eastern branch goes through Kazakhstan and Turkmenistan. If you have any questions on organization of this destination, we are ready to consult you and answer all questions. The delivery of loads to China, taking into account the up-to-date trends, the flows mostly go to Far East and out of Far East too. Here you can see the main points where we are ready to take the load or deliver the load to. These services exist due to with the help of our colleagues, Transcontainer. In further details, they could tell everything about the cargo shipment and the policy of pricing. What about the internal activities? Our company is an official customs representative. That's why we could provide you the full range of services in this field. From forming the customs transit, the presence of our representatives, also opening of the control zones on site. We also have our personal software, Russian railway logistics, and you could create your personal account there. It would make your work easier. What are the advantages of the program? We represent the service for a year. Such services provide a full technology of delivery and could take all the duties connected with customs and solve it within our company. On this slide, you could see the main points why it is profitable to work with us. Here you could see that we have an electronic document turnover on the basis of our platform and also optimization of expenditures themselves. If we provide the complex of services, including the services on internal affairs, of course, we have the optimization of pricing too. Moreover, our company is actually working with logistical outsourcing and audit, which helps to get the services from the initial audit, initial consultation, up to the operation and implementation of work, and further consulting on the work too. I would provide some future examples how it would be profitable to you. The main advantages of this service is economy, reduction of expenditures for one unit of the product. Here you could see the main stages of implementation of this program. They are audit, finding the borderlines, ways to eliminate problems, implementation by your company, also our company, and realization of the whole process of delivery. What we could add about our abilities. We're working for 11 years already, and we have universal half cars. We also have a trend specialized transporters which maintain the project logistics. Not long ago, we shipped the transformator for 1.5 tons. So we supervise the whole process through the delivery, from preparation of schemes, shipment, payment, and provision of the service of the last mile. We also have our own containers, placed 150, and we plan to increase it up to 500, which would help us to maintain the work within the temperatures. They are autonomous, work on diesel. The term is 40 days of keeping the temperature. In addition, we are also the customs representatives, which provide us the opportunity to give the service around all the net of railroads. To sum up, I'd like to ask for feedback. What are you interested in? Which needs do you have? Which tasks and goals? Maybe it should be only one car for transporting, or you need consulting of import or export loads, especially if it is connected with customs services. I would also be happy to answer your questions privately at the end of all speakers' reports, or maybe after my report, and I also ask the organizing committee to send you a questionnaire. We would be glad if you'll fulfill it and give the feedback, and we are ready to prepare logistic solutions for you. Thank you for the attention. I'm ready to answer your questions.
Thank you, dear guests, participants of our session. So I will pose the question that many people probably think of. Where and when can we get the information about the rates for container transportation? The rates are placed on our official webpage. They are updating regularly on a 10-14-day basis, and we are ready to send them through the organizers of this event. To all the participants of the session, yes, they will get, besides the presentation, they will get the rates. And another question, please can you add a bit about consulting? What consulting services can help to achieve, and in what way it will help the clients? Consulting it's a simplified way. If we speak in a simplified way, when we cooperate with each other, communicate, highlight the obstacles, and offer you measures to eliminate these obstacles. So, according to our experience, it helps the clients to save up to 7% of expenses. Then the client can choose its own way to eliminate the obstacle, or can ask us to do that. So thank you for your report, and I believe that the participants will join me with their applause. Thank you. We continue our talk, and the next speaker will be here with his report on the topic of new services of Transcontainer in transport crisis. The first Deputy Director of Transcontainer branch on Kуйбышевская Railway, Arshak Beshirian. Unfortunately, there is no sound. Yeah, we managed to deal with that. Good afternoon, dear clients, partners, and colleagues. And maybe you will get the clicker. Okay, it's another presentation. So, colleagues, Kitai goes out of lockdown, uploads its cargo, but at the same time, the Eastern Hemisphere, the Western Hemisphere goes on lockdown, including European Union and partly enterprises and markets of consumption in Russia. Thus, we get the deficit of containers in China and profit of containers in the Eastern Hemisphere. It's all connected that for 1 out of 4 containers that arrive into Western Hemisphere, there was ready export for back to China. So it meant that the vessels, when the containers went back to China half empty, and the cost of freight became higher, and since we had deficit of containers in China, the price at that time reached, by August, up to $10,000 for 1 container. As a result, colleagues, it was a disbalance, a global disbalance, and the market of national operators that were presented here, that were here before me and after me, will report, as it goes in our country, the hope dies last, started to take measures to solve this disbalance, and by December of 2021, this was achieved. The cost went down to $6,000, and even on the central parts of Russia, there were no enterprises on the market that couldn't afford to get container and cargo. But we have new challenges. A lot has been said. We know about it. We know what happened. Let's put it this way. Unfriendly sea operators that regulate outside Russia, they stopped their ship calls and stopped giving their containers through the Black Sea basin, through Baltic, and it was less obvious through the Far East Polygon and through Pacific Ocean. Since there, let's call them our allies, for more than decades were developing ship calls to the ports of Far East region. What has been done over the half year, we can say proudly, with great gratitude, to the client base that went for drastic changes, for new transport corridors, relied on Russian operators, and today we see the way the balance is back, is harmonized again. If we take this balance that we had in March and April, if we speak about containers, it was minus 100,000 containers over this period into the western direction, and plus the same volume in the eastern direction. Igor Vladimirovich said that today on the East Economic Forum, a big mission was where all operators, constructors, businessmen of the country gathered together and mutually discussed the possibilities of development of Eastern Polygon, because we had a big working meeting where we talked that it is impossible to conduct more than it is technically possible through the land passages. What new services were created? Trans-container, we have our own fleet. For more than 15 years, we existed as a branch of Russian railroads, and these new challenges allowed us to open a new fleet for our vessels that go through the eastern port to the Chinese People's Republic and to South Korea, and the vessels that go on a regular basis to Turkey, Istanbul, Samsun, Mersin, and regular vessels to India, Novoshenva, Mudra, and Europe, colleagues. As it may sound strange with the current challenges, but these crises of Europe allowed develop services in European direction, due to the fact that the land pass to Europe using the roads allowed us to open this new service. And today, our company announced on its web pages about new destination. It's Italy. With our container trains, we went through direct trains to Hamburg, Rotterdam, and so on. But Poland, Latvia, Lithuania, it's regular services where we're planning our usual volumes. As a result of all above mentioned, I would like to add, it's not as a commercial thing, but the support of the state and the client base, we increased our park. We had, before the crisis, with 100,000, and we gathered this amount within 15 years, and within this half year, we increased it plus 50,000. Some of them are in the production, some of them are being delivered, but it's 150,000 with the location on the territory of the Russian Federation, plus purchases of wagons, of cars. That gives understanding that we shouldn't be afraid of any challenges, changes in logistics, but together with the client base, as we did, overcome these barriers, obstacles, and get results for our motherland. That's it. If you have any questions, I would be happy to answer them. Do you have any questions?
I think that after such an active representation, there would be no questions. Even without presentation, that was quite cool. We are continuing listening to the reports, and the next one is new opportunities for container shipping of construction cargoes. The head of International Shipment Department of Russian Railways Business Active Company, Andrei Kochkin. Good afternoon, distinguished guests of the Forum Congress. I would like to tell a few words. Who are we and what are we involved into? Which challenges do we face during all that period of time, which wasn't that easy for most of us, just because for most of the people, new multimodal containers were founded only in 2020 and actively developed in 2021, and right now is reaching the numbers that were planned. Here you can see the numbers which we plan to reach to the year 2025. 15,000 of platforms, increase up to 55,000 containers. As for us, this period, which was difficult for all, it became special just because we were developing, we went forward, and we set new goals each month, reaching them. That's why we made great success during this time. And when we faced some of the challenges, which were discussed by the previous colleagues, previous speakers, we created an aim to solve them, even if the market was changing rapidly from west to east, then back to west, new routes, new ways. Right now, each month, we have 240 containers of trains for the whole country, and 30,000 TEU each month. We have different loads in our containers. Some of them is something we are proud of, just because we came to that and we could not even think of loading it and delivery in trains, in cars and containers. Right now we have a lot of new loads. All in all, the system and also business active, we have 11 basic terminals around the country. We also have one on the Kуйбышевская railroad, Безымянка. We talk about new challenges and new logistics. We are at the stage of designing project it's Забайкальsk. Apart from that, making contracts with business active, you could work in each terminal where you have just open spaces. We could also involve our colleagues on the terminals and work, represent as shipment masters, and so on. As for routes, and something which we have new here, you can see there in red on the presentation, there are the classical routes for each container operator. We also have the same routes on through Kazakhstan, Mongolia, standard routes to China. We also started a new service from Novorossiysk this year to Turkey. Now we're talking about the Istanbul port. We also have an open marine lane to India, Africa, and Europe. Here we use the powers of our branch company, which has the representative office in China, in Europe, in Vienna. Even if we have problems and some issues with Europe right now, we still can find new ways of delivery. That's the reason why, all in all, this region doesn't become empty. We still deliver, we still work, we still ship. From the point of view of partners and clients, they motivate us to find new solutions, opening the new offices, new ways of working, Turkish ports, European ports, and also to provide it by car or railroad. The overland border from Hamburg is still working. We still have direct trains to Poland, at least 10-15 trains each month. Talking about separate projects which occur on the basis of the changes which we have in our country, we have another project which we were involved into for quite long. It's the creation of additional overland border. It's Blagoveshchensk, the delivery of goods to China by bringing them through car delivery overland on the overland border in Blagoveshchensk. We also increased the volume which we could deliver through this overland border, and it became a challenge for us, what we tested and right now could give you to implement your ideas and open up new abilities for you to deliver and ship the loads from China and to China too. As for Turkey, I must tell about the story connected with Novorossiysk. The colleagues already stressed this story. We have services which are actively operating with Oktyabrsk and Sverdlovsk railroads to Novorossiysk, to the terminal there. There we have sea lanes which work each week. We could provide the services of temporary storage and also bond service storage and other ways of storage before sending the goods to another part of the world. We know how to implement it. Talking about Novorossiysk, we added some details about Turkey and the opportunity to deliver goods to India once a week and twice a week. We have a vessel to Africa Alexandrian port.
Ну и последнее – это Дальний Восток.
And the last thing
Последнее,
is
это
the
потому
Far
что,
East.
наверное, Дальний Восток уже тоже становится
Just because Far
такого
East becomes
да, таким же узким
something
местом, как и
narrow
погранпереходы.
as
Дальний
the
Восток,
overland
довольно
borders.
сложно туда заходить.
It's very difficult to enter
Есть
this
определенные
territory
сложности,
just
которые
because we
наши
have
коллеги
some
также помогают нам решать,
casualties
и
we need
надеемся,
to
что
eliminate with
поддержка
our colleagues.
железных дорог поможет нам каким-то
And
образом
we hope that the support of Russian railroads
на Дальний Восток,
would help to solve these issues.
тех проблем, которые возникают. Однако также стоит отметить, что также мы
But
через
we should note that right now, through the port of Far East, we deliver goods to China and are also ready to get the loads from China
Если говорить
back to
вкратце, то
our
вот именно
country.
про сервисы это все. От себя отдельно
That's all
хотелось бы
what I'd
добавить,
like to
что
tell about
сегодня много
services,
слов
and
прозвучало о том, что
also
мы ставим какие-то
I
вызовы,
must
да,
add
какие-то
that we
новые
have a lot of
логистики,
challenges. We
Ну,
try
на
to
самом
create
деле,
new
если
logistics.
почти вся логистика давным-давно
But all in
придумана,
all,
просто
the whole
сейчас
logistics
ее
were already
подстраиваем
made,
под
and
те
right
цели,
now
которые
we
необходимы в
adjust
первую
it for
очередь нам,
our
клиентам,
needs
и
and the needs of
пытаемся
our
развиваться,
clients,
быть
and we
более,
try to
так скажем, flexible, да,
develop
более
ourselves to
гибкими,
become
ко всем рискам,
flexible
которые вы все испытываете.
to the needs
И
and the wants of
после
our
или прямо сейчас
clients.
готов буду ответить на какие-то
I'm ready
вопросы,
to answer the
поэтому
questions right
можете
now, or
задавать их.
maybe
Я с удовольствием
aftermath you
расскажу о
could
том,
ask, and
что и как мы можем еще предложить.
I would be very happy to
Буду
answer
слушать от
the
вас также
questions
обратную связь.
and
Всем
hear the
спасибо.
feedback. Thank you very much.
Andrei, please tell about what other export or import routes are available through you, and what are you planning, and in what directions you're planning to work.
Да, про те цели, которые ставим
For
перед
the
собой,
aims that
также
we
есть, конечно же,
pose,
определенный
we
интерес
have
в
certain
участии
interest
в
to participate in
маршруте как раз север-юг,
in
да,
the
то есть
route
выходе на Иран и Индию
north-south
через сухопутье.
to access
Также
Iran and
обсуждаем
India.
сейчас возможности с
We also discuss
Октябрьским
possibility
и
with
СТО
Октябрьский
по
and
возможности реализации
Severny
перевозок
of
через
possibility of
Санкт-Петербургский
implementation
морской
of
порт, через
trafficking
Северный морской
through
путь на Владивосток.
St. Petersburg
Все
seaport,
это сейчас
all
развиваем
this
активно.
being
И, помимо всего
developed
прочего, я уже
actively,
сказал,
and besides
неожиданно
we
даже
are
для нас самих в условиях вот этих всех
within
кризисных
this
историй
condition
появились новые возможности
stories
по
we
доставке,
have
по
new
работе с
possibilities of
Европейским
delivery and working with European Union. Thank you. That was a very detailed answer. Thank you for your report.
And
another report
by
the head of Project Management Center of Ural Locomotives, Grigory Golubev, Malachit, prospects of platform for traction rolling stock by Ural locomotives. Good afternoon, dear colleagues, dear guests. Thank you for this opportunity to take floor on this platform with our developments for Russian railroads and for Russian cargo transportation companies. I would like to show you prospects of platform for traction rolling stock that we are developing. A few words about the plant. Our plant is located in Верхняя Пышма. We possess competence of welding aluminium casing, frames of trolleys, and our major competence is our own engineering center that supports the serial production and development of rolling stock as well. Over the last 20 years, we've been engaged in production of different products, starting with upgrading of locomotive L11, and then we developed our own model. And when Siemens arrived on our market, we integrated the drive with asynchronous engine. And today, in 2022, together with Russian developers of traction drive, we are ready to introduce a locomotive with asynchronous drive. And we also deal with the development of rolling stock for passengers, for urban communication. What is the unified platform of locomotives? Here we need to highlight two key advantages. First is unification of components or spare parts that would allow to reduce the cost of the rolling stock. And the second is the development of Russian suppliers that take a separate place in our development. It's the rolling drive, traction drive, and engines. The model range has similar technical characteristics and is different only in accordance to the region of the exploitation. It can be AC current or DC current. And also we think about the expanding this range. The major idea when we developed the locomotives was the body, framing body that would allow to locate quite heavy the traction equipment and reduction of the length by 1 meter. A lot of attention was paid to locomotive teams, so we introduced WC, where we have vacuum technologies for WC. So the trolley construction, here we need to highlight double-side teeth gear and cementing of these gears that improves the reliability and inter-service interval of the equipment. Major part of in our work is the traction equipment. So we developed traction drive, where we have possibility to expand and use it on the locomotives of all other types, with the possibility to increase the reliability by increasing the independent supply sources of the engine. Traction electric engine or electric motor is developed by Russian companies, so we work with Russian electric motors, and this motor is being tested right now. The major advantages of this engine is a two-way transfer of traction and greasing the bearing without taking out the motor. That would reduce the costs of servicing. The system of conduction of locomotives is also a Russian development. That's the Euro company ZAL D. We've been working together for a long time. And in this system that we have today, we have systems of conduction or management and systems of safety. Some ideas were taken from passenger locomotives. We implemented the digital assist of the operator, and we use the materials that allow to make the transfer of data faster. Another function that is very important, according to Russian railroads, was the implementation of the system of conducting of train from one post. That's being tested right now. Passive safety, according to the requirements to crash modules for passenger trains, we developed the concept of passive safety, and we developed a crash module for locomotive, and deformation on testing showed the deviation of 526 millimeters that actually meets all necessary requirements for safety. The cabin, the cockpit of the train is developed taking into account our experience of working with operators. So we use special materials, and we developed the control module, the system of video surveillance. It's not a modern equipment, but we use it. We used to use it on the passenger trains, but right now we use it on cargo trains as well. And we implement it into old and new locomotives. We implemented this digital electric journal, so to substitute the paper one. So we also have a digital locomotive where, thanks to direct and indirect diagnostics, we would control the cost of life cycle that we get through the exploitation experience that can be traced in real time, and we can trace the costs that we didn't take into consideration when we calculated the life cycle. So the advantages of Malachit platform, the 5, so it's technico-economic effectiveness, repairment friendly, high indexes of energy efficiency and longevity. If we go to certain products, we have this electric locomotive that was using the asynchronous motor. It can bear 8,000 to 9,000 tons on different types of roads. The polygon of exploitation of this train, of this steamer, we're planning to do on Sverdlovsk Railroad. Today we're finishing the certification testing of this electric steamer, and in October we will relocate to the testing site in Belarusiansk, where it will undergo different types of technical testing. The next stage is this electric steamer. It's dual system cargo electric steamer that was developed on Malachit platform for different kind of roads. So polygon of exploitation is very, very vast. As I mentioned, it's from Vladivostok to St. Petersburg, and it's more concentrated in the eastern part, or western part of the country, sorry. Another type of steamer is this one. So it's another stage. The aim is transportation of cargo from 7,000 tons to 9,000 tons on railroads with AC current. The exploitation polygon here can be 2. It's in the eastern part of Russia and in western part of Russia, where we worked a lot to integrate the requirements for eastern polygon. That's it, colleagues. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, I'm ready to answer them. Yes, we have certain questions. First is about the construction of the platform. Why did you have to reduce the length of the car by 1 meter? Yes, when we were designing, we had certain works done on the body, and of different types of steamers, but when we designed the platform, the Malachit platform, we studied all the requirements to the rolling stock, and a lot of attention was paid to the requirements of eastern polygon. And in these requirements, there were serious requirements about to the final length of the whole train, and we couldn't meet it with the construction of our steamer. So when we developed this range of products, we decided to reduce the length of the car by installing all the equipment inside, and today 2S8, 2S11 of AC current and DC current can be used on the whole polygon of Russian Federation. Thank you. And the question to the strategy, in what cities do you see the first production? The production is in Верхняя Пышма. We're planning this year to produce, we have one first testing example, and we are planning to certify it this year in 2024. We're planning to produce another steamer for AC current, and in 25 for DC current. Thank you. If you have any questions, please. Grigory Alexeyevich, good afternoon once again. Please, how do you solve the issue of import substitution? And is it possible that the rolling stock would consist 100% from Russian products? I may tell you that the question with import substitution is solved already, because we substituted the traction drive, the traction module, and it's all Russian, and Horizon company from Yekaterinburg that is developing the traction drive. For 2S11, we are planning to cooperate with UFA, with UFA plant. And if we speak about import substitution, we don't see any big challenges or issues besides the new rolling stocks with Russian railroads. We have a lot of working teams for import substitution. And what concerns other steamers that were used using the Siemens drives, this new line of products is aimed to substitute them.
Григорий Алексеевич, у нас на дороге активно эксплуатируются электровозы 2С6. Вот я насколько слышал...
Grigory, we have 2S6 steamers actively used on our roads. Is it possible to use the booster section there? Because it's not always used rationally. Do you have this task? 3S6, it's a steamer with the booster section. We produce it separately. Between the section, it is produced as a separate product for connecting to the park, and together with the supply of 3S6, the steamer with two head units, with two head sections, with the cabin. So it's the same steamer, multiplied by 1.5. Thank you very much for the most discussed report. Thank you.
Dear participants and guests of the forum, we have finished the reports. We have 10 minutes before our coffee break. Now you have a unique opportunity to come to the speaker you're interested in, to get acquainted, give contacts, just because we have 10 minutes to stay here. Thank you very much for your attendance. And I'd like to thank all the speakers for a detailed and profitable information. Right now we'll have just a small networking event here. Then we are all invited to the coffee break.